I have 3 items of draft legislation on our agenda this evening. Draft number 1 is amending Chapter 505 of the Codified Codes of the City of Whitehall, Ohio, titled Animals, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, before we start in on that, I would just like to speak to the videotaping that is occurring of the 2 women council members. And I just want to point out that if someone comes in and directs a video recorder at one member, or for that matter, several or all members, it is no different than standing up during full public and speaking. It makes a statement that they have pointed that camera at an individual constantly. And those who are doing the filming should be required to identify themselves as they would have to if they were being polled in public. And we already know who the woman is who's doing this. But I would like the gentleman who's also involved in this to stand up and identify himself and give us his address, please. I think the voters and the citizens of Whitehall have the right to know who it is that is doing this.
We don't have a typical process. I'm going to defer to our city attorney on this specific issue, because I know it is an open public meeting, which is allowed to be taped, whether it be by them or any other individual or any other group that want to come in and do that.
You mean like the news?
But when the news comes in, we know who they are. We know they're WSYX. We know they're WTVN. And the citizens of Whitehall have a right to know who these people are, what their agenda is, just as WSYX comes in with an agenda. And I would like the gentleman to stand up and identify himself and give us his address.
I'm going to address everything to Mr. Shannon, our city attorney.
First of all, Jackie, if you have any of these considerations and you give me advanced knowledge of them prior to the actual council meeting, I appreciate that, so I can have a chance to do justice to the request. But when you asked me here at 10 to 7 at a committee meeting, I'm going to give you the conservative answer, and that is I'm going to be deferential to the constitutional rights of our voters and our electorate. The First Amendment freedoms that are guaranteed by our Constitution and our Bill of Rights allow people to participate in the public process in any manner so as that they don't adversely affect the rights of other people in that process. I know of no precedent that requires somebody who wants to come in and arbitrarily film a public proceeding to identify themselves. So I don't feel comfortable advising you as members of council that you have that right. If a person voluntarily wants to identify themselves for the record, obviously that could not be viewed as objectionable. But I will supplement what was said previously, is that many times there have been members of the press here, and I was not aware that they were members of the press. There could be a cameraman here toting Channel 6, Channel 4, Channel 10, whatever. And there's also a companion person who's the actual reporter, and we don't always necessarily know who that person is. And I think even if you look at the cable franchise agreements that exist with virtually every municipality, there's a provision in there that we can require the cable companies to actually videotape our council meetings should we so desire, such as done in other jurisdictions like Westerville, Worthington, and things of that nature, Columbus. And I believe those are done at no cost to the municipality. I could be wrong about that in there.
There is no cost. I mean, it's a requirement of the franchise that we have with the cable companies if we so desire to have them do that.
And the whole intent of those provisions is to provide open and unbridled access to the voting electorate. So I don't feel comfortable mandating that anybody identify themselves unless they want to speak to an issue before council.
Well, sir, I'd like to know, are you Lee Rummery? Are you going to identify yourself for our public?
Actually, this Thompson, we're out of order. We don't have any public participation during our
Mr.
committee
Bailey,
meetings.
can you identify that man?
This is still out of
Sitting there
order.
with the camera?
This is still out of order. We need to move on.
No, our public has the right to know who it is that's doing this.
Public doesn't care. No.
This is a committee meeting.
It is, absolutely.
We're not even taking testimony from the public at this proceedings, nor have we historically, unless it's something that's been scheduled in advance for a presentation, such as the strategic plan. And in committee hearings, we typically would not allow a full public session. Now, in fact, we would specifically tell people that this is not the appropriate time, and that we have two such opportunities at every council meeting on the first and third Tuesday of the month. So I believe the motion is out of order.
We're going to move on in our legislation. We've got draft one back to that. It's amending chapter 505 of codified ordinance of the city of Whitehall, Ohio, titled Animals and Declaring an Emergency. Ms. Thompson, this was the item we brought forward at a previous committee meeting in regards to this specific legislation.
Yes, that's right.
And I see it has been reviewed and put together and assembled by our city attorney's office.
And I want to thank you for that, Mr. Shannon, that you got this in a timely manner, because I know that Julie was on vacation for a while, too.